Now in the 2-3 matchup, instead of a slugfest defensively, this is going to be an absolute shootout. I personally cannot wait. Michael Penix Jr. and the Washington Huskies, one of the most explosive offenses in all of college football. They lead the nation in passing yards per game. Michael Penix, a Heisman finalist. Throwing to the Avengers, Rome Odunze, future first-round pick, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan. It's so hard to guard these guys, and Washington exposes defenses on a weekly basis. They're putting up nearly 38 points per game. That ranks the 10th best in the nation. And what makes this team so dangerous is they can not only pick you apart through the air, but Dylan Johnson, the running back, might be one of the most underrated running backs in the country. He's been excellent this season. I think when you combine him, Michael Penix Jr., and this elite receiving core, they present the toughest challenge offensively for this Texas squad. And a lot of people are very quick to forget how good that this Washington team is. Their strength of schedule is ridiculous. They beat Oregon twice this year. They beat USC. They beat Utah. They beat down on Oregon State on the road. They are 5-0 against ranked opponents this year, and I think this Washington team is hungry. They're yet again the underdog. They're being disrespected. I can't wait to watch this team. They're definitely going to have their hands full, though, against this Texas squad. Quinn Ewers, Xavier Worthy, both having phenomenal seasons. They've been one of the best quarterback to wide receiver duos in the country, and it's easy to get mesmerized with them on the offensive side of the ball with both of these juggernauts. They average the 9th most yards per game and the 16th most points per game in the country, but on the defensive side of the ball is where they're very underrated. Their defensive line is absolutely nasty. They're giving up the 4th fewest rushing yards per game, so it's going to be a very interesting cat and mouse game with how Washington wants to play this Texas team. Do they try and pound it early with Dylan Johnson, or do they try and torch Texas through the air with this phenomenal receiving core? Like I said, this game has a shootout written all over it. I'm pumped up. Nothing gets me more excited than two explosive offenses duking it out on the biggest stage in the country, but I gotta take the team that's been the most consistent all year long, has proven to me that they can beat the cream of the crop teams, so I gotta take Washington, led by Michael Penix Jr. here. I believe their offense is too unstoppable with what they can do through the air, what they can do on the ground. Their offensive line has been playing at a very high level. Michael Penix Jr. is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. I think Washington poses a huge threat to Texas here, so I gotta take the Huskies in the national championship against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, if this is the eventual national championship, it feels like Alabama will be favored. Two huge back-to-back wins from the SEC championship against Georgia, and now beating the #1 overall team in the country in Michigan. I think this will also be a great game with shootout written all over it. I know Alabama's had one of the better defenses in the entire country, and Washington also hasn't been bad on the defensive side of the ball, but I think this is really where Milroe breaks out, shows what he can do through the air, shows what he can do when he gets time in the pocket and when he can move around, scramble, and beat teams on the ground. This should make for a way better national championship than last year, but I gotta go Alabama here. Like I said, I cannot bet against Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. We've seen them in this position way too many times. Something tells me he's gonna come up with a defensive game plan that this Washington offense hasn't seen. Michael Penix Jr., the pressure that he'll feel, the uncomfortability that he'll have in the pocket. I believe Alabama is writing a massive underdog story from where they were at the beginning of the season. Nick Saban's been firing up his crew all year long. He knows what it takes to win national championships, and I simply can't bet against this man. The Alabama Crimson Tide will win the 2024 national championship. I'm Caden Kubler, and that's my take.